When a fearful avoidant attachment style leaves somebody that they've actually built an attachment to and actually had some degree of real feelings for, they generally tell themselves one lie before they leave. And if you don't recognize as a fearful avoidant attachment style who may have a habit or history of doing this, that this is in fact a lie that you tell yourself, then you are going to be subject to repeating the same old painful patterns over and over again in your life and in your relationships. And these painful patterns, of course, lead to painful outcomes. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the really important, detrimental lie that fearful avoidants often tell themselves before they leave, and how understanding this will literally revolutionize your potential in relationships. And of course, if you are a partner or a loved one of a fearful avoidant listening to this today, trying to understand this will help you a lot as well. In order to tell you this lie, I have to give you the backstory of the fearful avoidant. Fearful avoidant attachment styles, they go into relationships thinking that their job is basically to meet somebody else's needs and to deeply bond with them, and in essence, in a lot of ways, become what that person needs from them. Fearful avoidants spend those early stages of dating and getting to know somebody, drawing out all this information from them, understanding deeply who they are, what they're looking for, what they want. And in some ways, fearful avoidants try to become a little bit of that. Now, of course, they do value their independence and their freedom, so they won't give themselves over completely and just transform themselves like a chameleon into what they think somebody wants. But they will express parts of their personality to become a little bit more like that across time. And so as the relationship begins, generally in what we call the dating stage, that first 0 to 6 months of getting to know somebody, of spending time with them before making a really serious commitment, fearful avoidants thrive in that stage. They are so good at bonding and connecting and getting other people to connect with them. But then when a fearful avoidant attachment style actually attaches, in other words, when they start to develop real romantic feelings, this is where this lie starts to come in the background. And here's how it tends to unfold. The lie becomes that they cannot get their needs met or ask for their needs from somebody else. The lie is basically that they have to become what somebody wants from them, and they have to pour in and do all this work and show up. And honestly, fearful avoidants put a lot of pressure on themselves to achieve as close to a perfect standard as possible for who they are and how they show up in relationships. And this small lie starts to creep in where they go, well, I can't really ask for my needs. Now, of course, this is not a lie that is conscious. They don't recognize that they believe this at a subconscious level. And so here's how it plays out, and how it starts to play out is really wild. As this lie unfolds, they start feeling like they need to shut down because they end up pouring into somebody else, but then not requesting their needs in reciprocity, not saying what they need, not letting somebody see who they really are. And because fearful avoidants also struggle terribly with being truly vulnerable, let me just, really clarify that for a second. Fearful avoidants are great at being vulnerable about things they don't actually feel vulnerable about. They're great at telling an old childhood story or sharing something that they're feeling, but they're not good at being vulnerable about their own insecurities, their own unmet needs in relationships, what their true boundaries are, what their true yeses and nos are in relationships. And so they start to bond and start to attach, and then they start to feel like the relationship is one-sided, and they start to become burnt out and exhausted. And here's where the second part of the lie comes in. If you want to check out courses that help you recondition all of those painful stories that just go on in your mind and projections of all of these outcomes, we have a whole course you can check out fully for free for a limited time, all about what a secure and healthy relationship looks like. This is just available for a limited time, and I will put that link down below if you want to check it out further. The second part of the lie is that they believe that nothing's going to change this. If you're not meeting their needs already, and they're trying their hearts out in the relationship, well, obviously you're not really caring about them. And this lie starts from, oh, I can't get my needs met, I can't express them or be vulnerable. And it turns into, well, then my partner that I'm dating and in a relationship with doesn't care about me because they're not meeting my needs. They're not showing up for me, and they're not loving me in the way that I need to be loved. But here's the really wild part of all of this. It's that a fearful avoidant is by proxy, by literally not communicating about this, as a byproduct, they are literally expecting their partner to mind read what their needs are. Because if you're not communicating, you're literally, as a byproduct of that, just expecting somebody to figure it out. And that is not how stable, healthy relationships work. No, healthy, stable relationships require vulnerability, require opening, require sharing your inner world with somebody else. And it's actually something fearful avoidants struggle with far more than they often even recognize. And so eventually you feel burnt out by relationships. You've convinced yourself that this person you're dating doesn't really care about you because they're not meeting your needs. And that is usually that sort of 3-point trigger before they actually leave a relationship, because they've convinced themselves that. And it allows them to justify leaving, it allows them to walk away, and they think they're setting themselves free. But here's the problem. If you keep repeating that same old cycle, you'll go from relationship to relationship, never getting your needs met, and then thinking that it's because people don't care. When in reality, the way to break this cycle is to start practicing vulnerability, start sharing what your needs really are, what those look like. And that is precisely where things begin to come full circle and your relationship patterns can begin to change. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.